So you're thinking about moving to the Salt Lake City area and want to know which city you should pick. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover 10 different cities. I'll show you where they are on the map, show you some reviews of them, and then give you my opinion on the different cities. When we relocated 2 years ago to the Salt Lake City area, it was a big change for us, and we had no idea about any of the cities, where to go, how to do it. Being a real estate agent like I am, it was a little bit easier because I've done it for people moving to where I used to work. And so let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman, and I'm with the Living in Salt Lake City channel. If you're looking to learn everything about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, play here in the Salt Lake City area, then click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I do new videos. If you're thinking about making that move here, you want to know more about it, please reach out to me and the team. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd absolutely love to take care of you. We work nights, days, weekends, whenever. Reach out to us. So let's get into 10 great cities that are options for you to move to. If you stick around to the end of this video, I will give you my favorite city and talk about that a little bit more in detail. Let's jump into the list. These aren't in any particular order. They are all great cities to choose from. I just numbered them so that I can keep myself on track. So number one on the list is Kaysville. So Kaysville, Utah is located north of Salt Lake City. So let's show you where that is now. So I have the map open. You can see here's Kaysville highlighted in red. It's north of Farmington, south of Layton. Here's the Air Force Base up here. And then here is Salt Lake City down here. So you would just take I-15, which is really the only route up there that you can take. You can do this other little highway bypass around, but it typically... it's not too bad going north on I-15. Other than the major traffic times in the morning and in the afternoon, it's a pretty smooth ride. It's 20 to 30 minutes at most to downtown typically. The cool thing about Kaysville is where it's located. It's in one of these little cluster of cities right along here, which are very, very popular. All of them from Bountiful, Centerville, Farmington, Fruit Heights, and Kaysville. So Fruit Heights is going to be more expensive than Kaysville, even though Kaysville is pretty expensive. Before I jump into the reviews of Kaysville, if you go up here into Syracuse and take this Highway 127 out, you can go out to Antelope Island, which is super cool to go do. You can see buffalo out there and other wildlife. And the Great Salt Lake, I guess, fluctuates in the amount of water that they put into it. But when we went, it had enough water where it didn't feel like it was lacking in water, but you're going to hear different things from the news. So here's the reviews. Kaysville overall is the #1 best suburb to buy a house in Utah. It's got an A rating overall from niche.com, A for public schools. So when we were moving here, Kaysville was on our hot list because my wife's brother happens to live in Kaysville. And so we thought maybe we would move and be close to him. So, and we were doing some research on schools because we had 3 children at the time in school. And so we were looking at high school, elementary, and middle schools. And they had great rated schools there in Kaysville. They have A- housing, A good for families, A for jobs, C cost of living. I'm not sure why the cost of living other than home prices are higher in Kaysville. But home prices are high everywhere. It's not any more high in Kaysville than it is elsewhere, really. A for outdoor activities, that I can agree with. You're close to going out to the canyons that are up there. There's a bunch of different trails and stuff you can go on, lots of hikes. We did a switchback hike there that was pretty intense. B, crime and safety. B- nightlife. There really isn't any nightlife, so it's more like a C for nightlife. Most of the cities are going to get a bad grade for nightlife. As far as I know, the nightlife is really just good right around Salt Lake City. B for weather. Weather is going to be very similar. The further away you get from the Wasatch Mountain Range or the mountains, you get a little bit less snow and it's a little bit warmer. But for the most part, weather is going to be the same. A+ health and fitness, and B+ for commute. Niche.com says about 32,000 people. They mentioned 410 median home value, probably more like in the 500 range. Here's our other rankings that we want to make note of. Best suburb to buy a house, number 1 of 73. Best suburb to live in Utah, number 2. Best suburb to raise a family, and number 2. Here's their crime and safety stats. So you can see that they have everything below the national average on everything. And some of them are really, really low. So I don't know what you got to do to get an A. It must be theft that brings it up pretty high on their list. And so that kind of gives you an overview. It shows you where Kaysville is. So would I live in Kaysville? Yes, I would live in Kaysville if we were relocating from where we are now and I wanted to switch which office I was in for real estate. It just depends on business. Business wise, for me, I do more stuff in the South County side of Salt Lake. So it's a little bit better for me to be in the South, to live in the South County side. But for everything else, Kaysville's awesome. Next on the list is Lehi. So Lehi itself is a pretty amazing town. This is where all the tech companies are located. There's a ton of them in Lehi, and Lehi is expanding and still growing. And it's close to the American Fort Canyon, which is cool because that's where we go out to the reservoir. So Lehi, I just did a video on them, and it's a great place to call home. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the other towns, a little bit cheaper than some of them. Just depends on your budget, but Lehi overall is a great place. So let me show you where it's located now. All right, so this is Lehi, and if I scroll out, you can see Salt Lake City up to the north, which is right up I-15, and Provo is down south east of you. One cool thing about living in Lehi is all the shopping. So Lehi probably has the most shopping, I would say, for the most part, other than Salt Lake City, but we have the outlets there. So the outlets at Traverse Mountain, and then you also have Thanksgiving Point, which is super cool to visit as well. So the outlets are right here, and you got your Nike, your Hurley. There's a ton of them that are here, and then there's another shopping center here that has a bunch of like little restaurants and other shops that you can shop at. It's got a Harmon's grocery store. I've eaten at this Houston hot chicken place. It's pretty good. We've eaten up here at the Tsunami. So if you're a sushi fan, this is the best sushi that I've found outside of going into Salt Lake is here. And they also have an original pancake house. You got to try that if you haven't eaten it. And then an R&R barbecue. So if you want barbecue, this is the best barbecue place that I've found so far in the Salt Lake City area. And this particular location, they have other R&R barbecues, and I think this one is just better for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the cooks or they do something different with food, but it's really, really good. And so Lehi is here. You have, this is a canyon route out here that you can go out to the Tibble Fork Reservoir, and we've been out there. And then there's some four-wheel drive paths that you can drive up here, and then it dumps you out when you're done with it all the way up here in midway. So you kind of route through the mountains. But that's super fun and something that you can go do. And then you have Deer Creek Reservoir, which is this reservoir here, and that's out this canyon, American Fort Canyon Road. And so overall, Lehi is one of my favorite towns to visit. We go there all the time for shopping and eating, and I would say it's pretty close to where we live. But Lehi would be a great place, and then all the different companies that are in Lehi. Now, as far as reviews, let's check those out. It's the number 4 best place to live in Utah County. I think it's either number 1, number 2, or number 3. So I would put it in the top 3. Maybe Alpine and Highland would be ranked higher, but other than that, I would put Lehi. So they give it an A- rating. They give it B+ public schools, B for housing, A- good for families, A for jobs, C- cost of living. It's a little more expensive to live in Lehi, and that's just proximity and everything that it has to offer, but I think it's worth it if you can afford it. A for outdoor activities, B, crime and safety, B, nightlife. I would say nightlife might be pretty accurate in Lehi because it has all the stuff that you have near the outlets and near Thanksgiving Point that you can do. B- diversity, B+ for weather, A plus health and fitness. So they got the health and fitness right. B plus commute. So if you're living in Lehigh, you're going to either be working in Salt Lake City or down in Provo, or you're going to be working in Lehigh. So I don't know, commute's more like an A because you could work in Lehigh itself. They say 73,000 people, almost 74,000 people. Median home value, they have way off. It's going to be more like 550 to get a home in Lehigh, up to $1 million plus. And realistically, you're going to be in the 600,000 to 900,000 range in Lehigh to get something really nice. So it just depends on what you're after. Here's their rankings. Best suburb for young professional, number 13. Should be more like in the top 10. Best suburb to live in Utah, once again, top 10. Best suburb to buy a house in Utah, number 15. Here's your crime and safety stats. They gave it a B. Looks like theft is pretty high, which is probably more like people, stuff stolen from your car, where the people that drive by are people that after midnight to 3 a.m. come by and lift your door handles and then take what's in your car, or smash your window if they see a backpack and they can't get in, that sort of thing. So that kind of gives you an idea of Lehigh itself. So would I choose to live in Lehigh? Absolutely. It's a great city. I really like where it's located because if you want to go to Salt Lake, it's 30 to 40 minute drive. If you want to go to Provo, it's 15 to 20 minute drive. Really just depends where you're going to be working and what things you want to go do, but I really like where it's located. The next city I'm going to talk about is South Jordan. So South Jordan is one that I spend probably an enormous amount of time in showing homes because of the Daybreak community there. The only master plan community that I'm aware of in the state of Utah that's done the way that it is. So I have videos on Daybreak itself that go over, should you live there, everything that goes about it. But South Jordan itself is a really cool city. It's got a great location as well. If you want to be in the Salt Lake County area, you're like 20 minutes or so from the airport. So if you fly a lot for travel, then that's awesome. It has really good rankings overall. I think it's a great city. It has its own temple. So if you're of the LDS faith, you have your own temple. Otherwise, you get to look at a pretty cool looking temple on the hill. So that's awesome as well. In Daybreak, they have their own lake, the Ochre Lake, that's there for residents. It's just a great place to call home. They also are moving the Salt Lake Bees, so the AAA baseball team is being moved to Daybreak. And now let's show you where it is on the map. All right, so this is South Jordan highlighted in red. All the new construction's going on out here to the west, this side. So they're just expanding and growing. So you can definitely get new construction options. You're going to need help because there's lots of choices, lots of different builders, and you're going to want to know all about that. So that's something that we can definitely help you with. And we love helping people with new construction just because of the design center stuff and everything that goes into building a brand new home. So this is the Ochre Lake right here in Daybreak. This is where the temple's located, right here on the hill. Let's see if we could show you what that looks like. Here's your view. So these mountains here are amazing to look at, this view. There's the temple right there. So you're going to be able to see that on the hill from all over the valley. Like where I live out this way, I can see it all the time. There's a place here called the District, which is right in here. So this is a bunch of shopping, bunch of restaurants. It even has a Sizzler. So if you've eaten at Sizzler before, they still have a Sizzler and it's open in here. They have a Village Inn to eat at, which is the only one. They just remodeled the Chick-fil-A, so that's nice. They got a JCPenney. They have a Megaplex here. And then Hobby Lobby, Target, Armin's Grocery. So pretty much a lot of the shopping in here. Across the way, you got Olive Garden, Longhorn, and a B-Dubs. And then if you're wanting Hawaiian style barbecue, this Mo Betta's is really good. And then they just opened a Chipotle that's in here. So this is a nice area. We go here quite often because it's not that far and there's some restaurants there, and the family really loves Olive Garden for some reason. But that's awesome. Up here you got your Costco. and Walmart Supercenter, which is, if you're a Costco fan that like we are, then that's where we go to get gas. So we go to the other Costco that's here in Riverton. It's probably the best gas place you can go, cheapest gas, and right now they don't have diesel, so it's not full of cars. It seems like anyone with diesel, any of the Costco's that serve diesel are packed. So that's kind of the area. As far as where, let me zoom back out more. You can see Salt Lake to the north. The airport is right here. So you would just take Bangerter up to the airport. Takes you directly there. I'll be going there tonight to pick up my son. And then this is Mountain View Corridor. And Mountain View isn't as nice as Bangerter because they haven't done the under and overpasses on it yet. And then you are, just a quick ride down I-15 down to Lehigh for that, if you wanted to go shopping and eating like we would, or down to Provo, or further down I-15 to Las Vegas. Let's jump over to the reviews, see what those look like. They have it the 28th best suburb to live in Utah. I don't know where they rank these different ones, but South Jordan would be a great place if you can afford to live there, because it's quite pricey, but it's an awesome community with what it has to offer. It doesn't feel like you're in the 1950s to live in South Jordan if that's the style of home you want. B plus overall rated. B plus public schools. I've heard the schools are really good in South Jordan. I don't have any firsthand knowledge. I have clients that have their kids in school there, and they've never complained about it to me. B minus housing. A minus good for families. A minus for jobs. C minus cost of living. A for outdoor activities. C plus crime and safety. Wonder if there's an A rated crime and safety. I'm going to have to look that up. B for nightlife. B for diversity. B minus for weather. A, health and fitness. A lot of people do lots of walking in South Jordan, you're going to find. B plus for commute. They say it has 75,000 people. Once again, their medium home values are way off, but that's what they give. Other rankings: best suburb for young professionals, number 18 to 73. Best suburb to live in Utah, number 28. And best suburb to raise a family, number 30. Here's their crime and safety stats. So you're going to see theft is pretty high. And I'm sure that's just due to the people coming from other cities that are coming there to do the door handle lift thing. And then people will, they feel like they live in a safe area, so they will leave things out like bikes and toys and stuff, and they probably just grow legs and walk away. Overall, South Jordan, awesome place to call home. I don't really have any complaints about it. Like I said, they're bringing the Salt Lake Bees there, so that's awesome. Daybreak is a great community. If you like what it has to offer, you need to know and do a little research about that. One of the things, the homes are a little closer together, or pretty close together. You have narrow streets. You do a lot of like outdoor type living in the Daybreak community, and that's just something you have to be aware of. But it's more community focused, I would say, because of that. Since you don't really have a yard for most of the homes, you're going to live outside your home, whether you're in the parks or the other restaurants or the community events that happen there. It's a different feel and a different lifestyle. And some people really don't like that. So let's move on to our next city, and that's Bluffdale. So Bluffdale is where we almost moved. We were looking at purchasing a townhome in Bluffdale. We almost pulled the trigger on it. We just decided not to do it just based on location for my wife to get to and from work. They hadn't opened the bridge that's now open, although the city, whoever's in charge of Redwood and where you come across from the bridge, needs to figure out how to make more people be able to go through that light there, because I want to go straight from going on the bridge to get to Bangerter, and it's awful during the traffic time for no reason other than just cars wanting to go left. And there's so many cars that go on Redwood, so they need to figure out a better way for that light, just restriping the lanes different so that those of us that want to go straight can actually go straight. So I'll show you where that is right now on the map. All right, so here's Bluffdale. It's kind of a triangle shape, sort of. We were looking at moving into this general area here, but this Porter Rockwell, there is a bridge that, let's Let's see if it show it actually built. They do. Okay, so this bridge here is brand new. It wasn't open when we moved here, so you wouldn't be able to cross over. But the traffic is right this light here. So whoever's in charge of the city, I'm gonna have to figure that out if it's Bluffdale or if it's the state. But if they would just restripe this lane here to go straight only, would be awesome. And then if people could figure that out, but it shouldn't be a pain in the butt for you to go straight. So Bluffdale itself has some really cool things to offer. It is a smaller city. It doesn't really have any, I guess, public transportation in it. It doesn't have a ton of restaurants, doesn't have a ton of shopping. It is still growing. And this area here, this is where the prison was. This is called the Point, which is technically part of Draper, but it's going to bleed right into Bluffdale. And once that's open, all the shopping and restaurants and everything there is going to explode Bluffdale and make it even better than it currently is. One of the neat things is it's, 20 minutes up I-15 up to Salt Lake City. And then it's, 15 minutes, 10 minutes down to Lehigh, about 30 minutes down to Provo, down the freeway. So it's where it is. I'm going to keep saying that all of them are good locations for every different reasons, but you can get some decent land in Bluffdale. So let's show you some. For instance, let's say this was your home. Look at the size yard you have. This guy has, this pie or this rectangle shaped lot, and this guy here. So you can definitely have horses in Bluffdale. If you buy the right home, you can have your shed in the backyard. Bluffdale is one of the towns where you can actually get a decent sized lot. Now the reviews of Bluffdale. They rated the 45th best suburb to raise a family in Utah. They give it a B overall rating. This is niche.com. B for public schools, C plus for housing, B plus good for families, B plus for jobs, C minus cost of living. Has anything been better than a C in cost of living? I don't think so. A for outdoor activities, B minus crime and safety, B minus nightlife. I'm going to give nightlife more like a D because there really isn't any nightlife. There's one pub, I think, in the town that I'm aware of. B minus diversity. That's more like an A minus, I think. B plus for weather, A health and fitness, and B plus for commute. And once again, commute, I don't know how you get better than the B plus unless they are counting you being much, much closer. But it's really nice because if you worked in Lehigh or Provo and the other person, your spouse or partner or whatever, worked in Salt Lake, it's in a good, kind of like a halfway point. So both of you get to do the drive. 16,000-ish people. They say median home value 504. This actually might be pretty close, but it's probably more like 600. You can get a townhome. The townhome we were looking at in Bluffdale was 560, I think. It was a 3-bedroom with a basement that you could convert into the 4th bedroom and a family room, which is what we were after. We want a 4-bedroom home with a bonus room in the basement and then your main level. So what seems to be popular here in Utah, which I think is cool, is you have your main floor living, and then you have a basement. And in the basement, if they're done right, they have a family room and then an extra bedroom with a bathroom down there. That way you could have guests or family members, or you could put one of your older kids, or, you could rent it out potentially. That sort of thing you could do in the basement. I don't know if I need a kitchen in the basement, although we have a bar down in ours with a refrigerator and a sink, which is awesome. That's super cool. And then the top floor, you have your bedrooms. And while I was used to having the main floor living for our bedroom was on the main floor, and I like that still, having it upstairs here means that you have a view of the mountains typically. And if you can get the view, that's awesome. But being up a level means that you have a better view. So it makes sense that the bedrooms are on that top level just for views. However, once you get older, then having the main floor bedroom is probably better. Other reviews that they have: best public schools, number 35. Best suburb for young professional, number 36. Best suburb to raise a family, number 45. Here's their crime and safety stats. They seem pretty average compared to everywhere else's stats. Gives you a little bit of an idea of Bluffdale. Would I live in Bluffdale? Absolutely. We almost moved there. One of the guys we were chatting with in that neighborhood, his name was Cameron, and that's our son's name, which was kind of cool. But he was going to take his e-bike out for a ride. So if he happens to watch this, he could comment. But he just said it was windy all the time, which it seems to be windy where we are pretty much all the time too. It's not, 20, 30, 40 mile. It's more like a 5 to 10 mile an hour wind. That's kind of all the time. So he just said it was a little bit more windy than where we were. And not that that made us not want to move there. We just decided to stay where we are, and I'll talk about that more later. So next up on the list is West Jordan. Would I move to West Jordan? Absolutely. I have a nephew that I helped purchase a home in West Jordan, and they really like living there. They have a huge shopping center there called Jordan Landing, which is, I believe, our biggest shopping area. It pretty much has every single thing that you're looking for. I'll show you that in a few minutes. But overall, West Jordan is really close to the airport. It gets less snow. Temperature wise, it gets a little warmer than some of the other cities. But overall, it's a great area. They're still building new construction homes, so you can get those. They have old homes. They have, homes built in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 50s. Like, it seems like they have a really good mix of homes. It's probably one of the most diverse areas for ethnicities. Everything that has to do with people in general is going to be there, from old to young to single, married couples, everything. So here is West Jordan, where it's located. All right, so this is West Jordan highlighted here. You can see they still have available land all out to the west. The east side, all of this is pretty much built out. The main driving force for most people that move to West Jordan is the fact that they can get a new construction home and then all of the shopping that you have available. And so this is Jordan Landing right here. It's right by a private airstrip. But as I scroll in, you have Walmart, you have Sam's Club, you have Dick's Sporting Goods, you got a Target, you got a Best Buy, you have my favorite place. You have one of my favorite places to get fast food, which is El Pollo Loco. If you haven't tried them, you should. It's really good. We just do a salad there with chopped chicken breast and then their creamy cilantro dressing. It's really yummy and it's pretty healthy for you. Overall, they have pretty healthy. They even have an Applebee's. I didn't even know they still existed, but one of my good friends in Nashville really likes Applebee's. So I give them crap about that all the time. They have a Waffle Love. Just everything that you're looking for. Burlington, At Home, Lowe's, Kohl's, Chili's. They have a Cinemark movie theater. There's a fudge place over here that has pretty good fudge. Barnes & Nobles, Old Navy, Office Max. I think the Bath & Body Works, Nike outlet, or Ross. So there really isn't anything that you're missing. If I kept going, I could spend 10 minutes naming all the places, but I'll let you look that up. There are just a ton of restaurants and shopping that's here. So you're going to be going to Jordan Landing often in West Jordan, or for us, it's about 18-minute drive it's about an 18-minute drive to West Jordan for us. So we go there all the time. And then once again, my nephew lives there, so we'll go and visit him as well. As far as getting to the airport, you would just take Bangor or Mountain View Quarter up to the airport. Salt Lake City is 20 minutes away. Airport's 20 minutes or less. It's a little bit further to go to Lehigh because you got to go 20 minutes to get to where I am to get to then Lehigh. So it's further to get to Lehigh from West Jordan. But West Jordan has a really good mix of home prices, once again. And let's go into the reviews. They have it the 11,566 best place to live in America. Wow. Overall, a B minus public schools. Depends on which school you choose to go to. So that's something that we could look up together, or you can look up on your own. C plus for housing, B for good for families, B for jobs. As far as the family life goes, my nephew lives there. He has one child, and they really like there and say that it has a good a good feeling for him with his family. C, cost of living. A, outdoor activities. C plus, crime and safety. Um, he would probably agree with that one. B for nightlife. A minus, diversity. B minus, weather. A minus, health and fitness. And B for commute. Commute's more like an A when we're looking at everything. It is a bigger city, so it's got 116,000 or more that currently live in it. The median home value more like in the 400 range, and you're really going to be spending 5 to 800,000 for a home in West Jordan. It's a little bit cheaper than South Jordan to live in West Jordan. Most diverse suburb in Utah, number 9. Most diverse place to live in Utah, number 22. And the best suburb for young professionals, number 33. So here's your crime and safety. As you can see, theft is really high, and even motor vehicle theft is pretty high there. And assault looks like it's closing in, still way below the national average. So that gives you an idea of West Jordan. We can talk more about it. You just got to reach out. But West Jordan is a great place for you to, when you're moving here, to consider, and then we kind of expand out. But when you reach out, we talk about the different cities, your lifestyle, what stuff you want to do. If you want to like walk to your coffee shops, then West Jordan may not be the greatest place to pick, which most of the cities on our list are not great for walkability, because we haven't really had a ton of people ask about that lately. It was really big prior to COVID where people wanted to be walkable. But there are still people that want that. And if you do, we can talk about what are some of the best walkability cities. So that's kind of West Jordan in a nutshell.